Hi, everybody. It's a wee bit of alchemy. I'm Rick Barrett. Welcome. We're going to go into a bit of exploration into training your spirit. I've talked about this a bit recently, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'll just briefly recapitulate some of what we've discussed. And particularly if you're just tuning in for the first time, the what we're talking about here is comes from Yang Cheng Fu's quote. He says, "What we're training in Taiji Chuan, we're training the spirit in Taiji Chuan," and that doesn't negate or trivialize all the other cool stuff that's happening what we're doing in Taiji Chuan. It just means that whenever we train the spirit, we get more, we get higher, wider, and deeper. And so the way I like to look at spirit from a Chinese perspective, I convert it into my own perspective on this and say it's those aspects of yourself that are not limited to your five senses and your rational mind. And so, which is a broad spectrum of phenomena that you can experience in along those lines. But once we accept that there is more than just what I can think about, then it opens the door to a whole lot of possibilities. So in a let me get rid of this light, like that shadow. There we go. So so if we approach it from that perspective, then we say, okay, there's a lot more that is possible that we can do, and if we train it, we learn to control our abilities to do things. We can turn them on and off. If we think of control as start, change, or stop, change and stop something, if we can do that, we can know when to apply these things. They don't just happen to us. It's something that we can make happen, or whatever, to the degree that we've practiced them. So, it's something as simple as, say, being able to perceive chi, perceive energy. For a lot of people, that's just a complete impossibility. That's science fiction stuff, but for a lot of us, we've been doing that for a long time. So what, so that would be in the category of perceiving with the eye of spirit. You're perceiving that which is not tangible. It's not something you can point at and contain and whatnot. But it's something that is very real to a lot of us. And the deeper we go into that, the more possibilities emerge. A key point in understanding these things is a concept that I go back to a lot, and that is the idea of substantiality and insubstantiality. And substantiality being the tendency of things to have a form and have density and location. So the more something has density, the more it has location, it becomes more substantial. It has more substance. Whereas if it moves in the direction of having less form, less density, less location, then it's more insubstantial. So in my arm, there's some obvious density here. There is a form, there is a location, there's density to it, but it also contains a lot of insubstantial qualities. In fact, it's largely space. So between all the different atoms, molecules, cells, etc., there is space there, and that's insubstantial. It's animated by something that is we like to refer to that as chi, but that's also insubstantial. So when we're talking about spirit, we're talking about those insubstantial aspects of ourselves that go beyond even the mind. So even the mind is an insubstantial thing by comparison to the body. And one of the things that Taiji Chuan and Chinese medicine and Taoism, they don't have the body mind dualism that is favored by a lot of Western perspectives. And that is, there's a lot of people who think of themselves the body as a machine, and they identify strictly with the ghost in the machine, that the part that animates it, be it the soul, spirit, or whatever. And whereas in the Chinese model, it's more of a harmonious intertwining in that. And we see this particularly in terms of the alignment of spirit seen in as a 5 different forms of spirit that the this is something that appears in Chinese medicine and Taoism, and that is the first and probably the considered the most insubstantial aspect of it would be the Shen. So whereas we think of Shen generally as a general term for spirit, but it's one form of spirit, and it in this case it's associated with the heart, and so there is a link up there. So then the soul. So you think of the Shen as the yang aspect of spirit, and the soul is called Hun, Hun, and that's associated with the liver. So you can see how we're starting to see this fits into the 5 element, 5 organs kind of model here. So the Hun, the soul, is located in your liver, and your then the Yi, which can be thought of as there's a whole spectrum of substantial and insubstantial with regard to the E as well. But you can think of it broadly as the intellect, but it's also more than that. It's that perception is a higher mind, a higher perceptive mind. So it kind of slops over between the conscious mind and superconscious. So you have this so that's the E, and then in the Po, which is what's called the animal soul. It's even more associated with the body, and that's in the lungs. So the E is associated with the spleen, the Po is associated with the lungs, and the will, the willpower, that's a function of your kidneys. Anyway, so you can see that there is a definite correlation here between body and spirit. It's not a sharp divide like we have in a lot of dualistic kind of thinking. It's more like, no, your body and your spirit are intertwined, and they are representing different aspects of your being. So what we're going to focus on today is 3 of these types of spirit, and with the intention of cultivating an awareness of the relationship between the yang aspect, which would be the Shen, and the yin aspect, which would be, in this case, would be the Hun and the soul. And between them, there is the Yi. Now, this is something that came up in a class I had with Master Yongfu Kui recently, and how each movement can be an expression of spirit if we think about it in those terms. And it's also a way of training your spirit, where each movement goes from the initiation, which is Shen, to Yi, which is what we know about what we're doing, to the Hun. At that point, that's the soul, and that is where you take it in. You eat the chi, whenever you get to the Hun, right? And then you start over and you do the next movement, which begins with a Shen Yi Hun. So we're just focusing on these three here, but I've been playing with that since I had that session with him, and I really like it because it is a very accessible way to do something which sounds pretty grandiose when you start thinking of it. It's like, I've been talking recently about how our the direction we're going is in training the spirit is raise, abide, firm, and condense the spirit, your spirit. So you're going to you have to raise your spirit. You have to get elevated, and then you abide it. That is, you make it, give it a home. You accept it, then you firm it. It's taking form now, becoming more substantial, and then condense the spirit. Now, that's where it is, you're taking that in, you're absorbing that into your Hun, your soul. And so you're learning to become familiar with these insubstantial aspects of your being so that you can depend on them. And this is, I think, what separates a lot of the really great ones, from people who are, and that is your ability to regulate body, mind, emotion, energy, and spirit, and be able to do that in a coherent way so that you're at ease with these different aspects of your being. You're not gobsmacked by the fact that you're encountering your spirit. That's because that's part of you, and it's not something other. It's just you. And then as it gets bigger, 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 and you also make it more substantial, then you are associating more of your identity with that aspect of your being. And that changes your frame of reference in everything. So your movements then become light and lively and full of grace, and just all the things that we look for in Taiji Chuan. But it's that elevated spirit. And Chen Ching talks about this a lot. And he says, like, there are three levels, where you're working with first the body, then the energy, and then the spirit. And the spirit is the highest level. And that's whenever you are learn to control your spirit, then that you're able to do miraculous things. And so uh, this is a simple way of doing it. So we're going to do some Shen E. E is just the being aware and knowing what you're doing. That's the thought process there that you're doing, and that's can be a very wide spectrum of thinkingness. And then into the Hun, which is you're condensing that insubstantiality and allowing yourself to take that in, and becomes more a part of you. Okay, so why don't you stand up, please, and we will do some work with the Shen Yi Hun. Begin with our three pillars. So begin with your feet about a hip width apart, knees unlocked, and feel your three nails in your heel. The nail is on the inside, along the big toe line in your heel, the ball of the foot, and the big toe, pad of the big toe itself. And you want to feel that, and then favor the heel nail first. This is what Master William Chen calls the anchor nail, and that establishes that yin connection with the earth. You're going to begin there and relax, and get yourself getting very sung. Zhong being sinking down into the earth, releasing all extraneous muscular tension, and learning to connect up with the intrinsic structure of your body, particularly your connective tissue system. Each breath, feel yourself sinking down a little more, feeling your mind, your energy extending down through your feet and into the earth. And at the same time, feel the earth chi rising, the density of the earth chi coming up through the balls of your feet, through the yang tran points, the bubbling well points, and filling you. Reach up at the crown of your head, tucking your chin. Very gently reaching. It's almost like you're finding that sweet spot with your head. There's a sweet spot between hanging from a thread from above and reaching where you're extending up. When you get it right, it's almost like your head disappears. You don't want to have any extraneous muscular tension in your neck. And doing this opens the jade pillowgate at the base of your skull. And this is one of the, when I talk about unkink the hose, this is one of the primary kinks that prevents us from allowing the spirit to rise, from raising the spirit. We open up that jade pillowgate, and this allows your Jing Shen, your spirit of vitality, to rise up and fill your brain, particularly going to your spirit valley, the center of your brain. Relax your lower back and allow your sacrum to drop nice and easy. We're feeling our central equilibrium now. Feel into your hands and notice that you're starting to get a lot of chi there in your hands. They're very relaxed. They're very sung. Just reach a little bit with your elbows. Open up your shoulder joints. We talked last week about elbow chin. And this is what we're doing here. We're creating a whole body energetic connection by opening up the shoulder joints. That's another of the kinks in the hose that we get rid of. Point and reach with your index fingers and feel the energetic coherence, unifying your body, unifying your energy into one chi, unifying your connective tissue system. So you're feeling that raising to a heightened level of tensegrity. And release your qua. Get very sung qua. So spiral down to the left. Releasing the qua, spiral down to the right. Nice and easy. Letting go. Feel yourself sinking down with most of your body, at the same time reaching up with the crown. Feel the chi circulating throughout your body. That's the insubstantial aspect there, one of the many insubstantial aspects of your body. And perceiving your chi, as I said before, is a way of exercising your eye of spirit, your spiritual awareness. We're going to initiate a motion. This is where the Shen comes in. We initiate that motion with the wrists, And just feel that extension, which immediately goes into E. That is feeling you're using your mind to direct the motions, and then reach with your fingers. And then Hun, this is where you just feel into the feel into your body, feel into the energy, using your spirit, using your highest spirit to feel into that and allow that energy to condense. You're eating the chi, but you're also condensing the spirit as you do this. It's becoming more part of you. Now we're going to go into your heels, reach down with your elbows. This is the Shen part. We're initiating the movement, then the E. Okay, the wrists. And you reach down with the fingers. And Hun. You feel that. You're eating the chi. Feeling condensing your spirit. Feeling it. Feeling your feeding your soul. You think of soul as being condensed spirit. And we do it again. So we reach with the wrist. This is Shen, the yang aspect. We're initiating E. We continue. Use the mind to direct the motions. Reach with the fingers. Feel yourself on the balls of your feet as you do this. Feel that yang extension, but also feel the Hun, the soul. Taking that in. Eating the chi. Reach down with your elbows. Sink into your heels. Shen, which is a very short initiation. E, which is longer. And then Hun. We gather. And this template can be applied to any movement or a series of movements. It's a way of thinking about training your spirit. And as you get familiar with it, it takes less and less time to really appreciate the different steps. First, you want to start nice and slow. I've been playing with this, taking some time to go through a form. Let's do the Yang Cheng Fu's 13 original postures with this in mind. This will be our guiding principle, our intention going through it. I'll turn my back to you, and hopefully you can hear me. So establish your 3 pillars: your central equilibrium, your energetic coherence, unkink your host. Feel that, that's your standard. And begin. So first we're going to feel the Shen. We initiate the movement. The E. Yeah. And then Hun. Gather. Shen. Initiate. E. Hun. Shen, Yi, Hun, 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 Shen, Yi, Shen, Yi, Hun, 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 Shen. Yi. Hun. Shen. Yi. Hun. Shen. Yi. Shen. Yi. Hun. Shen. Yi. Hun. Take a moment and really eat the chi. Shen. Yi. Hun. Okay, so with your permission, I will let's do that again. Get that same thing again, and just sort of get it, get some more familiarity with the with that process. That's all right. So let's begin. Shen. Yi. Hun. 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 Shen. Yi. Shen Hun 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 Shen. E. Hun. Please have a seat. Heavy.
I don't really know how to express it, but it felt like when we got to the last part, when we were saying Hun, when you were saying Hun, and I guess that's the soul, it felt like there was kind of a blurring of the boundary between the body and the chi. It just felt way more integrated than I'd felt it before.
Nice. Thank you. Sure.
One thing that I noticed was that, we sort of usually play form so that we kind of think that there's an end point of each position at which you're sort of focusing, everything focuses to the end point. What I discovered was that tonight, a lot of the time, I was focusing toward being the most relaxed at the end point. And that felt really good. The most relaxed, and it seemed to fill me more.
Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Even though I'm struggling a little bit with my own shoulder issue today, it kind of takes it away from it a little bit.
Yeah, best therapy for it. Yeah, conscious movement. Cool. Valerie.
Well, I want to lead with what Debbie started with was words. I don't have the words. 90%. But something that we were discussing before we actually started the class was intention. And if I hadn't followed your direction and set that intention of what we were doing, I don't think I could have done anything. Yeah, whatever it is, whatever happened was big. So, like I said, if I hadn't set the attention, I don't think I would have gotten anything like what I'm experiencing. It was like, okay, we're going to do this and then do this and then do this. And whoa.
Right. And you make a good point there, because each time we say Shen, E, Hun, there is an intention there. It's like, this is the mode we're in now. We're in Shen mode, we're in E mode, we're in Hun mode. And and each time that intention allows us to flip our awareness, flip our expectations, and be able to understand what's going on a little bit better in the context of those three categories.
And I'm realizing now that I let go of trying to explain to myself what I was feeling, which put me more in, I was feeling rather than running a story in my brain. Oh, this is happening and that is happening.
Okay.
So it allowed more expansion rather than, okay, we're doing this and now we're doing this. It was just following the intention. Even if I didn't understand it completely, it was happening. And that's the part that made it so wonderful to me. was not having the story going in my brain of, oh, this is what's happening and that, blah, 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 trying to explain everything. I just was in the experience. So yay.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's really lovely. Yeah, Scott?
So it's obviously very cool. It's really interesting how different each part was. It was really, really cool to feel, because I don't, never really done this way before, where I've actually felt each thing. And it's really cool to feel the Shen and the intention and then just let that go. And then it kind of goes on autopilot, right? Until you go back to it again. And it was very helpful having you call it out each time for a while. And I found the spirit was that I had to really pay attention to the spirit because it's so quick. It's so quick. You gotta be there for it. And then, but once you pay attention to it, it's not quick. It's kind of weird, right? It's it's really interesting.
How you pluck the bass note, and it just kind of it resonates, throughout the whole chord, and it's like it keeps going. So you set that intention and it just keeps resonating. You don't have to keep repeating it over and over again. It's like, oh no, there we are. We're hearing that bass note, and then you go through it, and then we hit like a different note, and then we on to the next measure or whatever. And so it's kind of like that. So
That's a great example.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, did it doing it twice like that? That was helpful. Doing it,
Yes.
reading it.
Very good. It was very good.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And great. And each movement, I would bunch of movements together into E, do this, and this. But each movement can follow that pattern. You lift your arm up like this, and you can have a Shen Yi Hun, and so it can really fine tune it, in your own practice. Slow everything way, way down, and every step, you can take an hour going through one form like that as you explore each movement as in those terms as an exploration of spirit.
I'm glad you didn't try and teach it to us that way. That would have melted my brain.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, anybody else? All right. Thank you all so much. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah. Thank you, producer.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Maria.
Maria.
Love you, Maria.
You know, just saying it.
Well, we like saying it.
Bye-bye,
Good luck,
everybody.
Sharon.
Love you.